All right. What's up, everybody? So I did this training earlier to my team, to my training team here at Fitness Grind. Both my trainers, amazing young men, love them to death. But the idea of this conversation was about this thing I call future casting, and a bunch of experts call it different things, but I call it future casting. And this is the idea of envisioning who you want to become or where you see yourself in the future. Right? I did not make this up. But I just turn my own words so it makes more sense to me so I can retain it and apply it and learn to live it. One of the biggest problems for me is I have all these ideas and there's all this knowledge that I never really get to execute because I'm always getting in my own way because of self-doubt and this idea or term of am I enough? And I struggled with that for a long time. Literally to today. It's crippling for a lot of people when you consider this term of am I enough? You can tell yourself you're enough. God tells me I'm enough. A lot of times that you really start to wonder, question, are you enough? So when I started my staff meeting earlier, we just jumped into this conversation. It wasn't even part of my meeting. But it was something I needed to share with my guys because there's a change that's happening in my culture and people around me in my facility that a shift of where I'm taking Fitness Grind to and what it is that I want to see come out of Fitness Grind moving forward with our members getting results and people really changing their lives. Got some music going on here. Let me turn this down a little bit. Anyway, let me get into it. So there's a version of you that exists today, right? This conversation typically is had in business, but we're not going to talk about business today. Today we're going to talk about you. You as a person, you as an individual that wants something, a version of yourself, because you either don't feel confident, you don't like the way you look, your health sucks, you're either obese, fat, whatever you want to call it, you have diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, you have rheumatoid arthritis, you have injuries, bad back, bad knees, a jacked up gut, whatever it is, there's a version of you that exists today, right? This is going to be you. Y-O-U. And there's a version of an individual, right, that you like to become. And you've been on this journey of trying to become this version, but every time you gain some ground, you quit. Right? You come up with an excuse on why you can't make it happen. That version of you, we're going to call B. Right? There's a version of you that needs to do some stuff to get to where you want to be, or who you like to be. In this case, become. And there's a massive gap. A massive gap in the way. Right? In Christianity, in some churches, they call it a chasm. Biblically, chasm. Some business gurus call it the gap. In the Warriors way, which is a lifestyle that I live, we call it the gap, or we call it the pit. Again, I didn't create this, but it resonates with me on who it is that I want to become. And part of this process is if you can't visually see who it is that you want to be, then you're more than likely not going to get there, right? We'll say FC, right? Future casting, vision board, you visualize, whatever you want to call it, right? You got to figure this out how it resonates with you. So future casting. So you got to be able to see that version. What does he or she look like? I'll use me as an example. I see myself having 110 awesome members that make no excuses, that grind, that crush it, that kill it, that get massive results, that inspire the community to get massive results. My business is doing, 6 figures a month. We got amazing equipment. Everyone loves it. Everything is led by the culture of the facility, not by my team, not by me, but by the culture of the facility. Me personally, I'm 265 pounds, I'm 250, I'm 265, I'm shredded, 7-8% body fat. Not because I want to be that, but because that's the byproduct of my hard work. I'm doing philanthropy work, so I'm a philanthropist, the version of me, of the person that I see, right? I've been able to see this in the past couple weeks. You know, this has finally come to me. It's not, it wasn't really who I thought was the plan or where God wanted me to go, but it's clear now, right? So I'm a philanthropist, you know, so I'm doing things for the community, not only just locally, but globally. I'm in a route to change the world, like offering, you know, services for people that need it, that don't have the resources to do it. So, like, I know who that person looks like now. To this very day, to this moment, as I'm shooting this video, I know who he looks like. And I can see it, which means I will become it, period. And there's nothing that's going to get in my way. Because not only is it something that I want, it aligns with God's will for my life. Because that's who gave me that vision to be able to see and feel. So you need to know what that looks like. So you as a person, if you're looking to lose 50 pounds, 90 pounds, 20 pounds, if you want to get rid of back pain, knee pain, if you're tired of being fat, if you're tired of not putting on clothes that you would like to enjoy wearing, if you're tired of not going to the beach because you're embarrassed with the way you look, if you're tired of being tired, if you're tired of not being able to have amazing sex with your spouse because your belly's in the way, or because you don't have the endurance or the stamina or the energy to make it happen, if you're tired of not being able to play with your kids and run around with your kids, if you're tired of eating like a gerbil, eating salads and not being able to enjoy a slice of pizza or a cake, or feeling guilty and shame, or shame and guilt because you do that, if you're tired of all those things, then who must you become so you're not in the position of feeling that way? Does that make sense? Who you are now, all these guilt, shame, excuses, everything, all this fear, who must you become to get rid of that person? Okay? Now, this is how this journey starts. So, this chasm, I will have you consider that there's a lot of fog. Right? You can't see. This very moment, you cannot see who you want to be. Right? So you're stuck here in the present. And being in the present is not a bad thing, but the problem is because you're stuck there, you're constantly thinking about the past. And you have conversations of like, well, I used to be able to do this. I used to bench this much. I used to be lean. I used to be happy. I used to be very intimate with my spouse. I was better connected with God before. I used to have a good business. I used to make a lot of money. Like I used to. Constant excuses of what you used to be as opposed to who you are today, so you can see who you want to be. Hopefully you're going with me on this. So you're stuck in this past, living vicariously through everybody else, right? Instead of finding your own truth and your own vision and your own person of who it is that you want to become. So you're stuck in the past. I used to. Because you can't see who you want to be. And there's a gap that exists, right? That's scary as hell. Because that gap that exists is fear. Hopefully you can see that. It's fear. So this gap right here is fear. And in order for you to take the first step, right, to become or get to who you want to be, right, to visualize who this person is going to be or is, that requires faith. That's going to be derived from fear. Again, this is how I see it. This may not be how experts or pastors or whoever. This is how I see it, and how I've been able to comprehend it, and it in turn allow me to get closer and become closer with God, and be more connected with Jesus, and be more connected to the Holy Spirit, be more connected to my beliefs, right? Again, a conversation that has to do with your lifestyle and your wellness and your physical capabilities, but everything that we're going to talk about is all intertwined together with this. So fear. Now, because fear is there, you're hesitant on taking the first step. But here's the problem. When you take the first step, there's many steps that follow, right? So you become the person you want to be. And when you take the first step, that first step, there's got to be a little bit of faith that drives it. You're still scared shitless. You're still fearful. You don't know if you're going to make it. You don't know if who you visualize really is who you're supposed to be. Are those thoughts driven by your purpose, by God, or is it driven by people? Are you thinking that you should be a certain way, or feel a certain way, or look a certain way because that's how people want you to look, as opposed to you wanting that for yourself, right? Two different characteristics. So you take that first step. Now here's the problem with taking the first step. That if you don't believe it's what you're supposed to do, there are other gaps in between these steps. So you take the first step, and once you take that first step, now you're in this void. You take a second step, now you're deeper in the void. And here's the problem when you take the second step. If you don't feel that's where you're supposed to be, when you look back, you're not going to be able to see anything. When you look forward, you're not going to be able to see anything because you still visually can't see who you're supposed to be. Right? It's faith that will eventually drive you to become who you're destined to be. Right? That's also fueled and driven by purpose and understanding purpose. Again, if you don't have that or you don't know what that looks like for you, let me know in the comments below and I will shoot another video that describes how you find purpose. Deep, meaningful purpose. Right? That's not driven by man or driven by you, but that's driven by a being, a spiritual connection with God that's internal that you got to tap into if you never tapped into it. Again, I used to be in a position where I didn't know what that was. You know, but I truly understand what that looks like for my life and I can help you identify that as well. But let's get back to this. So, if you take that step, two things are going to happen. If you're not certain that that's where you're supposed to be at that precise moment in order to get to where you need to be or who you're supposed to become, you're either going to go back, allowing fear to cripple you, or, well, three things. You're going to go back, or you're going to fall deep in despair. Because there's steps that you can take that'll be firm, and hard, and solid for you to keep stepping forward. Right? That's driven, that's in this case engaged by fear, but driven by faith. Okay, I say that again. Engaged by fear, fear is propelling you to like, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm going to do it, go. Right? Giving you the energy and the purpose and the drive to move, but because it's led and driven by faith. Now, if this is non-existent and you take those steps, you're going to fall deep into despair, which is going to cripple you into your pit, take you deep into fear, where you'll sit there hiding in solitude, hoping and wishing that somebody comes save you. How do I know? Because that was me. That was me. Thinking, am I enough? Listening to the words of people who I've trusted over the course of my life, specifically in the past 4 years, who one day said, I believe in you, turned their backs around me and said, you're a piece of shit. In my face and behind my back. And prior to that, I already had this issue, am I enough? And those actions that I experienced just fueled that, just fueled more of that, right? Thankfully, God is awesome. Through the journey, He pointed people into my life and pointed me in the paths of other people that were able to wake my ass up and make me understand that, yes, you've always been enough. God's promised you that. He made you exactly for a reason and for a purpose. You've always been enough. Now it's a matter of, do you believe that you're enough? And today, obviously I'm shooting this video because I know for a fact that I believe wholeheartedly with certainty that I am enough. I'm more than enough. So, you're going to fall deep into despair. Or you're going to go back to present, which will put you back in the past of like, I used to be this, I used to have this, I was this, it was cool when I had, it was cool back in the day, or I used to have an awesome girl. Like, you live in this victim mentality that keeps you stuck in the past. Not being able to identify or see or future cast who you have the potential of becoming. Now, this fear is fueled by something. Because I believe there's two types of fear. There's fear that cripples you and keeps you stuck in despair, and resentment and anger and solitude, and you just want to die. And then there's fear that fuels you to let faith guide and lead you to where you're supposed to go. Okay? That's the faith, the fear that's going to push you into faith, that's going to get you to who you want to be. That's what you got to dive into. Now, this fear that cripples you is fueled by one thing. Some people say uncertainty. Some people say like you don't know, or doubt, or lack of love. I think it's simpler than that. My thing, or what I believe it is excuses. Excuses. Excuses fuels that fear that keeps you stuck in solitude and despair and just ultimate death. Because excuses is what prevents you from visualizing, future casting who you could become. Let me put me in the example. I can't do multiple 6 figures a month or 6-figure business per month, which is a 7-figure business as a fitness business, because people would tell me, Fee, you're worried about the money. Well, I'm a business owner. Of course I gotta worry about money. I got staff, I got employees to pay, their families to take care of, bills to pay, culture to develop, amenities to provide to my members, to my clients, so they get the utmost care. Community give back. Philanthropy or philanthropic, however you say it, like engagements that I want to do, like potentially, provide water to places that don't have it. Maybe help the homeless, feed the homeless. Like that takes money. That takes this. But I used to allow that. I used to get that to cripple me, because the thoughts of what people perceive me as when I opened a business, that I was just doing it for the money. I looked at it in the wrong way, because that's what they wanted me to see, because I didn't believe that I was good enough. Again, those are things that don't bother me no more. That's an example. Number 2, excuses. I can't develop the programs that I desire because I don't have the right equipment. What does equipment have to do with the program that I write? On helping somebody feel better, look better, do more, be more, and ultimately get what they want. I don't need equipment for that. Or I can't develop a thriving business because I need to buy more programs or more systems in order to do so. Or I can't develop a thriving business because I don't spend enough time with myself, or my family. Whatever it may be, excuses. This is what I look as an excuse. This is what I consider an excuse. If there's something that you desire, that's purpose-led, purposeful, spirit-led, that will do good for others, right? Do good for yourself, for your family. If there's something that you desire, and anything gets in the way, that you allow to get in the way, to get what it is that you desire, excuse. Let me say that again. If there is something that you desire, whatever it may be, that's going to get you to who you want to become, or who you're destined to become, purpose-led, spirit-led, monetary, whatever, anything that you desire, that's going to get you to who you need to become, and you allow it to prevent you from doing so, excuse. Period. The end. There's no way of twisting or changing. It is what it is. This is the thing that fuels the fear that cripples you. So this conversation with my team started today, the simple fact that we get members, clients that talk about that, oh, I can't do this because I'm too weak. For example, I can't do 20 push-ups because I'm too weak. Or I can't do push-ups like you do because I'm not as strong as you. This comparison game, not even a competition game. I think this idea of competition in our society has completely changed. We don't really compete anymore. We actually compare ourselves. We play this comparison game all the time, which is ultimate death. Like, for example, I'm shooting a video, right, in hopes that it inspires you to visualize, to future cast who you want to become, right? So you can overcome the gap, the chasm, the pit, the fear, whatever it is, death, whatever it is that you want to call this, and tap into faith, right? Fueled by fear to become who you want to be. I'm hoping that that's what this video will do for you. But I've hesitated on shooting this video because I've been worried on people talking shit. That's me being transparent. I constantly talk about living a life of transparency. There it is. What is all that? It's an excuse. I had to really dig deep and really ask myself, do I really care what people think anymore? We all do to an extent, but do I really, nah, no. So what's stopping me? Nothing. Nothing. I recently had a couple men come out here and help me out with my marketing strategy for my company, and where it is that I want to go and who it is that I want to become, to do to change the world, to do the things I want to do. And one of the biggest, and I've been told this many times, but one of the biggest things this dude told me is, you gotta stop hiding. You gotta stop hiding, bro. Your ability to captivate an audience, your ability to this, to do all these things, it's a gift from God, and when you hide, you dishonor Him. And that's been told to me before, but not the way He did, not the way He told me. So I woke up. like, it resonated hard. And I live life to do one thing, and that's honor my Lord and Savior. Because through that, I will do everything that I was destined to do, to be a good father, a good husband, a good entrepreneur, a good business owner, a good steward of the things that He's given me. That is it. All this because of Him, and honor and glorify Him. So when He told me that, I was like, damn, dude, you're right. I didn't tell him that. Well, I kind of did, but I didn't. And so I've been on this video posting like of things that just come to my mind, because I can't be the only one that experiences these things, these issues, these problems, in hopes that it'll inspire other people to live, at their highest ability. In my words, in my personal opinions, or how I perceive and feel it. Again, I didn't make any of this stuff up. I'm sure I got this from bits and pieces from multiple people. I just know that this is how it resonates to me. So, I'm going to ask you this. What excuse or excuses in your life right now, again, anything that prevents you from becoming who you're destined to be, purposeful, with purpose, what excuses in your life right now is keeping you from future casting and visualizing and seeing who God destined you to be? And if you don't believe the God, the universe, the trees, the grass, whatever you want to call it, whoever that person is supposed to be, like, what excuses is keeping you stuck in the chasm, in the pit, in fear and despair, that got you shackled up, when you have all the power, all the might to break those shackles and rid yourself of that and hop from stone to stone to stone and be who you're supposed to be, led by faith? What excuses are those that are crippling you? Jot them down, one by one. Write them down and start professing out loud the complete opposite of what those are. For example, me. I will be a 7-figure business. I will offer water to places that don't have it, that need it, because God wants me to do so. I will feed homeless. I will clothe people that need it. I will give them whatever they need to live a better lifestyle. I will teach, I will educate, I will empower the youth to rise up out of their despair, their gangs, or whatever the case may be, to be better stewards with what God has given them. I will do that. It's not how am I going to do it, or maybe I will do it. And constantly profess to yourself how that's going to happen. And you lay it out. You may not have all the pieces and you may not know how to do it, but that's okay, because it starts with you believing that you will become it. And if you don't believe that, you can't visually see it. And if you don't visually see it, you won't be it. Period. So, hopefully this makes sense to you and it resonates. And if it does, please